Hey there and welcome back to Remnant 2. We are going to be taking a look at Deathwish some more. I used it in a video here the other day where I was just messing around with it and trying to make it kind of work, but without like super diving into it. And after the video, I ended up doing a lot of messing around to like really try different things with it. And I just wanted to share those things with you and just some of the interesting things that I've noticed about it. And if you're not familiar with Deathwish, it negates all healing to self, and then you drain 300% of your health over 20 seconds, increasing all your damage by 35%, and then grants 10% of base damage dealt as lifesteal. It has a 90-second cooldown. Now, it basically incentivizes you to, hey, you activate this, you need to start dealing damage, or you're done. So, pretty straightforward. I kind of like that idea. It's good for bosses. That's really the only time I would use it without using some other kind of specific setup or in a team setting. So, kind of neat. So how do we play around with it, right? Now, there's a couple things about it I kind of want to talk about before we go into combinations of it with other traits, archetypes, rings, relics, things like that. The first thing I'm going to mention is that it's skill cooldown duration interactions. It's a little strange, right? Because base cooldown, it has 90 seconds. You can reduce it. It is affected by skill cooldown reduction. It is not, however, affected by skill duration. So that 20 seconds is always going to be 20 seconds. You can't increase it to make the damage that you're taking over time kind of lesser or manageable over 30 seconds or anything like that. It doesn't do that. It's always 20 seconds. Now, whether that's how they wanted it to be or not, I don't know. It feels like it is what they want it to be. But I like the idea of if I was able to make it last for a long time, I think that'd be kind of fun. But, it is what it is. Now, cooldown though. You can drop it down a lot depending on how much skill cooldown you want to do. You can max it out and, have it down to a 45-second cooldown or even further, because you can reach up to, it used to be 80%. Now it's 70% or 75%. So you could drop down the cooldown to very, very low. And the thing about it is, unlike many other skills where they have a duration, its cooldown actually starts as soon as you activate it. So when those 20 seconds are up, it's already down 20 seconds. So you can actually do some things with some high skill cooldown stuff and things with the Sapphire Dreamstone that give you skill cooldown on critical hits. You can do some things with that where you can activate Deathwish, have the cooldown already going while you're still doing things with Deathwish. And by the time it's over, it's just about ready to go again. So you could have 100% uptime on Deathwish if that's really what you wanted to do, which is pretty interesting. That's kind of fun. Would you want to do that? Maybe. That's up to you. Now, after that, so the big drawback with it is if your health drops to 0 because of this thing, you're done. You die, right? That's it. So what are some things that can help prevent that? The first up is just having a teammate. If you drop down and you are basically bleeding out, your teammate can pick you up. Bad thing with that, the Deathwish is still active on you. Even if they pick you up, you're still going to be losing health depending on how much duration is left. So you got to keep that in mind. But that is one option, just teammate. Number 2, handler. You have the dog as your primary archetype, and that thing can pick you up. Again, though, Deathwish is still going to be active if it had time left by the time it picks you up. Next option, the Die Hard perk from the Challenger. That will pick you up as well. Again, duration's still going to be running, though. Then you have the Alchemist using the Elixir of Life skill. That'll give you 1 pickup as well. So if you need to and you're oh wow, I'm about to be at the end of this fight and I'm not going to be able to survive, you can drop the Healing Elixir and that will keep you going. Another option is to use the Invader Archetype's Reboot skill. So you can activate Reboot before you've activated Deathwish, and then if you start getting low or you're in danger of actually dropping and not being able to keep yourself standing, you reactivate Reboot, and that'll bring you back to your full HP, back to your max. All the other stats that this thing does for you. Bad thing is, again, does not get rid of the actual Deathwish. It's still active on you. So if you still have a lot of time left on it, you're going to have to try and make it through there still, okay? Now, unfortunately, the Black Cat Ring, this will prevent you from dying once every 2 minutes. Brings you down to 1 HP. Now, this seems to trigger when you activate it. At least that's what it kind of looks like to me. But the bad thing is it takes you to 1 HP. And because you're still taking damage, you immediately go down anyway. So if we watch it happen, Takes about 7 seconds, right? Because that's the percentage and the timing and how that all works out. Get it down, and then if you watch, you can see there's that little black cat ring trigger effect around us. So that one's not going to save you, unfortunately, because you're still taking damage and you're at 1 HP. Now, maybe I could, like, be dealing damage at just the right time where it prevents the death, and then I, like, can keep standing. Like, we can give it a go and kind of see how it goes. But you can see, like, even with the extra damage and lifesteal on Deathwish, like, we are barely holding on. And now that we have to reload, guess what? We're in a lot of danger here. Nope, not quite enough. Maybe if we had some other effects going on to keep us alive, other things dealing damage, then maybe it would be okay. Now let's talk relics. There are two main ones that you might want to mess with for using Deathwish. If you're really focused around doing that and keeping yourself alive, there's two main ones I would check out. First one is going to be Siphon Heart. On use, grants 10% of your base damage dealt as lifesteal. That will help to heal you up. You activate this before you use Deathwish, or kind of in the middle, somewhere in there, and now you're doing more lifesteal. And that's going to help to keep you alive because you need to be dealing lifesteal in order to survive. Your regular healing is disabled, so this can really help you out to keep you alive. The next option is Tormented Heart. When you use the thing, it explodes, dealing damage, and then it lifesteals that damage for you. Now, that is not regular healing, so this will allow you to heal as well. So both of these are solid choices for you to be able to heal. Now, is it going to be a lifesaver? I find that Siphon Heart works better for me. The healing from Tormented Heart just hasn't quite been enough to, like, really full heal me, unless you put some points in Amplitude. There are lots of guys, you know, things like that. Then it can really, like, kind of pop off for you. But it does also blow guys up. It's probably dealing more damage. We can test that real quick. So baseline, when we use Tormented Heart, it's going to deal 450 damage. Now, if we activate Deathwish, we'll be able to see it heal us. We're going to be able to see it maybe deal more damage and therefore more healing. So we're dropping low, activate it. Yep, 608. And I mean, we could keep going, except we're too slow that time. So it does heal you. It can be a way for you to keep yourself up and moving. I think it works typically best if, one, I know I'm surrounded by a bunch of guys. 2, I've been shooting, getting some lifesteal, and then when I run out of ammo and I have to reload, at that point, I just activate the relic to kind of blow up some dudes and deal damage and heal me. Is it the most efficient? Not necessarily, because, you know, at the end of the day, if you end up killing all the enemies and you still have Deathwish active, then you're going to be in trouble. Now, if you do want to use it and you're using some other things around with it to kind of, like, mitigate the damage or provide some other options in case you get low and you're going to drop down, you're going to want to build up lifesteal. If you're using Deathwish, you just need to make sure you have lifesteal. So using traits like the Siphoner so that you've got just a 3% additional base lifesteal is really nice. You could run the Nightmare Spiral. Grants 10% of your base range damage dealt as lifesteal. Reduces your healing effectiveness, but that's fine, because if we're using Deathwish, guess what? We don't need regular healing. So if you saw earlier, we had some issues with trying to, you know, heal through it. Just baseline, we don't have any other rings on. We don't have any fancy things increasing our damage, so we're having a lot of trouble. But if we go ahead and we put some points into Siphoner, and we use that additional lifesteal, we should be able to see a pretty big difference. So let's go ahead and activate it now. Bam. You can see we're chunking down pretty well. And then suddenly we start shooting. And look how much better that is. And by carefully pacing our shots so that we're not all, you know, spending all our bullets right away while we're at full HP, you know, we'll be able to keep ourselves generally topped off. Now, this is going to be pretty hard to do in the middle of a fight when you've got a lot of things going on if you're trying to dodge things. So at that point, what you're going to want to use are some other effects that are also dealing damage at the same time as you. I used it with the Nano Swarm from Nebula. You could use a Fairy Familiar. You could use just anything else that's passively dealing damage. You throw it out there mod-wise, skill-wise, and have it just like keep healing you up. So an idea would be maybe the Engineer. You throw out the turret and then activate Deathwish, and while it's dealing damage, it's helped to keep you alive. And it should also make the turret deal more damage. So here we go. We'll go ahead and throw down the turret right here. Boom. Go ahead and start shooting, my friend. 73, 32. Activate Deathwish. Boom. Uh-oh, but see, it is doing more damage, but guess what? It's not life-stealing for us. That's a little unfortunate. I was kind of hoping it would help to keep us alive, but that's okay, because we have that Nightmare Spiral, we're able to kind of top ourselves off and keep ourselves nice and safe just by doing this. What are some other options you do? Anything else that does your lifesteal, man? There is the alchemy stone. So if you have the alchemy stone on top of the atonement fold, you could do a combination like that, and that's going to allow you to get lifesteal for having bleeding on you. So another 6% lifesteal plus some bleeding effects on you, and then extra crit chance for more damage. Well, base damage, it goes up base damage, so you know it's not going to help us to do even more damage. I should also note though that unfortunately shields don't really help us, right? So if I were to pull out the, say, the shielded heart right here, and then we activate Deathwish, it's not going to be able to keep us alive. I've noticed that it starts chunking at my health and my shield at the same time. And another thing that I noticed that was really interesting is if I'm running the Challenger as my primary archetype, I use Deathwish, then my Die Hard perk will keep me back up. However, whenever I have a shield active and I'm waiting to use the Die Hard perk, Die Hard doesn't trigger. Watch. Ready? We do this. And then we'll use a shield as we get kind of lower. Go ahead and use it now. And then I die right away. Really strange that that happens. I don't understand why that's the case. It's kind of bizarre. But if you notice too, right, if we go ahead and we use that shielded heart at the beginning, so we have that big shield right away, and then we activate Deathwish, you'll see that it starts eating away at our shield and our health at the same time, which is pretty interesting. And then if you use a checkpoint to heal yourself up and kind of like try and stay alive, see how it halts it a second, but it doesn't take it away. So we are still going to start going down, which is very interesting to me. Now let's talk about what was to me the most interesting part of running Deathwish and testing things, and that is with the Game Master's Pride right here. Reduces all our healing by 50% and then splits all damage and remaining healing evenly among allies wearing this ring. So, I mean, right off the bat, using this with a buddy, friends, whatever, a lot of fun. It's pretty entertaining to mess with, at least for a little bit, right? Now, this will split the damage of Deathwish among your party. So if you have one other person, suddenly both of you are sharing the damage of Deathwish. You have multiple people, it's splitting more and more of it, so it's a lot more manageable. So the cool thing with it too is all that lifesteal you're getting is also healing your teammates. So you can keep yourself alive and them, and then the things that they're doing with lifesteal are also keeping you alive. Now, because Deathwish disables all regular healing, a lot of things that they might normally do to keep you alive aren't going to work. For example, the medic's like healing ability where you use a relic and that's going to heal allies. The benevolence heals nearby allies for 30% of the total healing value. Doesn't actually work. It doesn't share that. Using the healing puddle, not going to work. But there are several things that do work, right? So for example, if you have healing shot with a teammate, that was healing me. Whenever he was using the Quilted Heart does not do standard healing. Instead, when you dodge, it provides healing. If he activated Quilted Heart and I had Deathwish on, he starts dodging around, that was healing me. It's really interesting. There were a bunch of interesting things like that kind of kept us alive throughout the fight, and him being able to do lifesteal to heal me and me dealing lifesteal to heal him was quite a bit of fun. Another thing that was pretty interesting as well, right, is the damage it deals is based off of your health, right? It's always a percentage, so right, 300% of your maximum HP. If you have 100 health, that's 300 damage over 20 seconds. Now, that damage will then get split between you and your teammate, so you're looking at 150 damage, right? If you have a very low maximum HP and your ally has a very high maximum HP, well, then it's not so much of a big deal. I was trying it at first where I did have that 100 HP. He had close to 150, 160, 70, something like that. Wasn't very much damage for him. It was fine. Then we flipped it the other way around. He had lower and close to 100 HP. I increased my HP to 250, used Deathwish, so now it's dealing some like 700 HP worth of damage over 20 seconds. it was just chunking my teammates' health down way, way low. So there's some fun things like that. And then if both of you activate Deathwish at the same time, both of your healths are going down. It basically turns it into just like you both have a regular version of Deathwish, though it depends on how much HP either person has. So on one hand, yeah, it's close to the same, but on the other hand, for somebody else, it could be a better win for them. So it's interesting. I've actually enjoyed using it a lot more. Being able to use a dog to pick me back up after fights just in case, using the Dreamstone so I can use it more and more often. It's been pretty enjoyable, and then Game Master's Pride has been pretty fun. I'm sure there's some other crazy interactions with it that maybe I don't remember, or I haven't actually found with it yet. And if you guys know what they are, dude, totally put it down in there. It's quite a bit of fun, it's been very interesting using it. I don't know if I mentioned, I say healing shot was healing as well. Yeah, it's weird. And in addition to that, when I had a teammate and they used the pulsing heart, that one seemed to heal as well when I was right on top of them. There's a lot of strange extra healing things like that one, the quilted heart, and healing shot. So give it a try for yourself. Try it out with somebody or something like that. But until the next one, that's pretty much it. I will maybe do another build messing around with it, or doing some Game Master Pride stuff. But thanks for checking out. Always appreciate it. And until the next one, take care.